so you're in lightburn, you're ready to send your first piece. If you wanted to know, double check that your sizes are correct of your table. Mine is a Nova 35, so mine's 35 by 23. It's actually done in millimeters, so what you want to do is make sure up here this is in millimeters, because all the numbers that Thunder Laser is going to give you is going to be in millimeters. Then come up to settings, you can see a Nova 35 is 900 wide by 600 high. This is not actually connected to my machine at the moment, but when you put in your offsets, this is where you would add them, that card that came in the box. You put your offsets, you'll see the black card has got different like offset values. You just have to add them into here for each speed. There is videos of how to do that. The other thing I like to do is under this settings, if you click filled rendering, if you tick this one, then when you have fill, it will fill it in, and then when you do a line, it will just draw a line, and you can see if I fill that now, it will fill it in. The one thing I noticed was user origin was checked. Really, the easiest one to use, or at least the one I used to start with and get used to, is absolute coordinates. And then that way, when you click frame, it will actually frame on the laser where your material is going to be etched. So you click frame, the laser's going to come over, go around, then you can put your material under that area and frame it again and make sure it's in the right place. If you want to do writing and cut the outside out, all you have to do is change the outside line. So if I change this to a green, now it's on a cut line. So just quickly for my settings, roughly I've got a Nova 35 80 watt. For normal wood, and just a good starting point for engraving is about a 350 to 400 speed, and depending what you're etching, anything from like as 10 power up to, you know, maybe 80 power. As a just a normal, I would use about 18 power, so 350 speed, 18 power, and you know that normally works pretty good for me. For the lines per inch, you can turn this up, but it's going to take you longer to etch, because the more lines per inch you have, you know, the more times it's going to have to go back and forward in that inch. So just keep that in mind. If you turn it up, it can make your engravings a bit darker, but it's going to take a bit longer. Scan angle, normally your laser's just going to go left and right. If you want it to go a different direction, you can actually just change the scan angle. So now you can see the laser's going to go at this angle. I either normally just have it at 0 or 90, and if you have it 90, it'll go up and down, or you can go 180 and then it will start etching from the top rather than the bottom. So I either use 0, 90 or 180. I haven't tried it at a different angle. And down here, if you've got certain jobs, sometimes it's easier to fill shapes individually. Like, just as a quick example, if I got a square and draw it out like this, and then I'll get two more squares, I'll put one there and one there. I'm going to put these onto a fill layer so they're getting filled in. You've got to make sure, selection tool, just select it, change it to the layer you want with the correct settings. So let me just make these settings correct so it's not confusing. So 350 speed, 18 power, high and low works for me. And especially if you're doing a line, if you're trying to score something, you definitely want your high and low power to match, otherwise it's going to skip the corners. So this would kind of be my normal setting. So okay, you always as well want to do your fill first. You don't want to cut the piece out and then fill it. You want to fill it and then cut it out. So that's correct that that's on the top. For a cut, I would normally do a 12 speed, 60 power, and that works on, you know, for most materials for me. But what I wanted to show here is if I wanted to send this to the laser, you can see it's going to take 14 minutes and 35 seconds to etch, because the way it's going, the laser's going all the way back one side to the other. So that would be a good time to, I'll just show, oh, wrong layer. if I filled shapes individually and check now, you'll see the time is a lot less, 7 minutes. So I cut the time in half, because now it's going to etch one at a time and just make little movements. So yep, just keep that in mind. But yep, to send your first one over, just make sure you have absolute coordinates, and then you can frame it from here, or you can send it to your machine and frame it from there. When you click send, it's gonna send over to your laser, and then you're gonna go over to the laser, press file, and you'll see it pop up, and then you'll see the names pop up. Then press enter, and then that will enter into that design. And then if you press frame, you'll see where that design is going to be, and then you can put your material under that area, and then just make sure that you're focused the correct distance away, which is normally around about 6mm for the 2-inch lens. And that one last thing to check is your air. Make sure for engraving I use low air, for cutting use high air, so just make sure that's correct, and then pretty much you can send it. Then I see the mistake was the person who I see had it on user origin, and yep, so just change that to absolute coordinates, and you'll see when you frame it'll be in the correct place. I hope it can help, and thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll put out another video as soon as possible.